Hey folks, how's it going? Plastic Guy here, coming back with another bootleg action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the CT Toys knockoff Mafex Miles Morales action figure. Similar to the last CT Toys bootleg that we took a look at, the symbiote Mafex Spider-Man figure, unfortunately I do not have the original version of this Miles Morales. It's not really a figure that I've seen much collectors posting on Instagram. I've came across rarely any on eBay, and so it's just not really a figure that I've thought about picking up in the past. But when I seen CT Toys were doing a £20 version of this figure, and knowing the quality of the last bootlegs that we've taken a look at here on the channel, of course I had to pick this guy up and take a closer look at him here on the channel. So let's get into it. The packaging, we get this Spider-Man logo at the top, nice art design all over with the red kind of coming through the black background here. See a picture of the figure in the bottom left, another logo, we get the CT Toys logo here, number 92. I do think this is an older Mafex figure at this point, maybe why there is a severe lack of people posting this figure in recent times. But we get the side of the packaging here, the back of the box with some really cool images of the figure and some poses going on with all the interchangeable parts. And yeah, the other side of the box here. Let's get this guy out of the packaging. So first, let's take a closer look at everything we get with our CT Toys Mafex bootleg. We get these interchangeable feet with the magnets at the bottom, which always comes in handy if you're wanting to stick this guy to your fridge. Of course, to go along with the feet, we get the magnetic hands. You can see the magnet on the front there. We get the non-magnetized version of those hands. We get the webbed weapon hands, and you can see the one on the left does have a slight paint smudge there with the red dot coming through. Web line holding hands. We get these sort of relaxed hands where the fingers are a lot more curved. The hands that he has ported on at the moment on the figure that we can see in a short second are just more kind of flat, relaxed hands. So we do get two sort of variants of more natural posed hands here. Lastly, we've got these clobbering time hands, and I will say all these hands look pretty good. The sculpt's there, the paint's all pretty accurate apart from that one set that had the slight paint smudge. Yeah, these are all great. With the web lines, we get two of each, so we get two of these longer web lines that port into those web holding hands with the end of the web here. Normally you only get one of the longer web lines, so it is cool that we get two this time around, and they're sculpted pretty nicely. You can see the thwippage going on here. I do like how that looks, and it's something that we're sort of used to with these Mafex Spideys and of course the CT Toys knockoff versions. So again, good to pick up these knockoffs to get all these different web accessories. We've got these two medium, I say medium, these are still pretty long web accessories here, and of course we then get the two shorter ones on top of them, the two shorter ones here. And I will say with these ones and the longer versions, the wrist ports here do look a wee bit big, and so we will check it out later in this video and see how these port onto the arms there, because I do think they might be a bit flimsy just looking at how big the portholes are, but time will tell. We then get this loose mask accessory, and this is really nice. This is similar to what we see with our other Mafex Spidey. I was about to show it off on the 185 here, but it is the original Mafex Spidey that has this loose mask. And I was saying that these were the relaxed hands, but of course you can port in your loose mask accessory here. And is he gonna hold it? Yeah, you can get him holding that loose mask, and that looks great. I love how the lenses look there, and all the web lines look pretty good here, so really impressive again from CT Toys. We then get this alternative masthead sculpt, and this looks great. The lenses are slightly closer together on this mask, making a more angry expression, but all these web lines look so crisp. They are detailed really nicely, and yeah, cannot complain at all. I will say, looking at the original figure and some comparisons that I've seen on Instagram already, I think maybe the red is slightly bolder on the original. There's something about the web lines on the mask and the body that do look a wee bit better compared to like, it looks better on the original when you compare it to this CT Toys version, but without having the original it's hard to really pin it down. But having this itself in my hands right now, it looks great. And then we get the Miles Morales head sculpt, and this thing looks excellent. Again, they have ripped off the original sculpt perfectly. I will say the scale of this figure, similar to the other CT Toys releases, is smaller, and we can get a sense of that when I compare this guy to other figures later on. But this head sculpt is pretty small here, but the detail on it is fantastic. There is some slight problems that you can see that hairline is sort of dropped down a wee bit onto his forehead, and in the neck area you can see that there is some brown paint from his skin tone smudging onto the costume here, like at the bottom of the neck you can see it a bit, and on the side here, and that's the first time I've really noticed that on a CT Toys release. But it's not a massive deal at all, but it is something that you can notice. But going back to the face sculpt here, I mean, the expression is absolutely spot on, and I think he looks great. This of course does look more of an adult Miles Morales. Of course he still has a young look to him. I'm more familiar with a teenage Miles Morales, and a lot of the other figures that I have are his Gamerverse and movie appearances where he is a lot younger, and so it is cool getting a different look to Miles in the collection. And then we get the figure itself, and overall this thing looks great. Now first off, I will say, going back to more comparisons that I've seen and not having the original figure to show it off, I will shove a picture hopefully up here that you can get a sense of what I'm talking about. But the legs on this figure look to be the same as the Mafex Symbiote CT Toys release, because there is not as much definition in the thigh area on the original Mafex Miles Morales figure, so it does look like CT Toys have reused parts of their previous bootleg, but I really am not too bothered about that at all. I think overall this thing looks really good, and it's not exactly noticeable. It's not as if the thighs or anything stand out. It is just in fact different to the original sculpt. So that may be something that you're not sure about. I think it works. I'm not going to hold it against CT Toys for doing that. And yeah, it's just a noticeable difference between this bootleg and the real version. But going back to the figure itself, starting with this head sculpt, I think this head sculpt looks just as good as the other one. The lenses are painted nicely. I do feel like on camera here when the lights hit it, it does have a sort of weird effect. In person though, yeah, everything is pretty spot on. I don't think there's any sort of paint damage on the lenses here, but is it just me? I have had a long day at work. It does look like maybe the lenses have a sort of white paint coming through there, but it's hard to actually see that in person. There is some maybe slight paint coming through from the lenses, but nothing bad at all. It's just when I'm looking at it on the screen here, it does look like maybe something's up, but yeah, guaranteed this head sculpt looks good. I like the look of the lenses. Of course, these are much wider than the alternative sculpt. All those web lines again look really crisp. And that flows all around the figure. I don't see any more sort of paint scuffage or smudges on this sculpt, he says, but then he drops the figure and hopefully doesn't damage it. But looking here on the head, you can see there is some white marks coming through there. Again, nothing too bad, but it is noticeable. I'll maybe try and rub that off after. Yeah, really cool logo on this costume here on the front. Around on the back you get this bigger spider back logo, and I like how the legs are really aggressive looking. Again, this is a different look to Miles Morales for me. I don't have a look like this already in the collection. I need to get more comic Miles figures, but there's nothing really out there. Again, I've never came across the original Mafex on eBay for anything remotely light on the wallet. It's, you know, up at that £200 price mark, which is just crazy. You can see the joint coming through on the elbow a wee bit there, and that is the same as the likes of the Amazing Spider-Man bootleg they did. Something to expect, I think, with these CT Toys bootlegs are things like this, where you can see the metal pins in the joint. But again, it's nothing that I get hung up too much about when you're paying £20 for a bootleg. It's just something that is there and it's worth acknowledging. The other thing I would say, immediately I did think that this looked a bit too big. This thigh crotch area here is very wide and it's not quite as seamless as I'd like it to be with the torso area. But again, for a £20 bootleg, is it something I'm going to harp on? Not really. And of course, there isn't really much paint or anything going around the bottom of the leg area here. So I mean, that is the figure. I think the articulation is really nice. You've got the butterfly joints, the drop down shoulders, and it's everything you'd expect from this Mafex ripoff. I cannot wait to pose this thing around. I've not posed a Spidey in so long, and so after this video I'm going to get them in some poses and get them up on Instagram as soon as possible. But before then, let's compare this guy to some other figures in the collection. So real quick, I forgot to mention that we do also get a flight stand with our CT Toys bootleg here, but to compare them to some other figures, first up we have the CT Toys Symbiote Mafex Spider-Man bootleg action figure, and you can see that these guys are standing around the same height, although I do think Miles is slightly smaller than the Symbiote CT Toys, which is crazy because that was already a scaled down smaller figure, and so yeah, he's just a tad smaller. But we do also see that the legs are reuse here, and I do think the arms are also reuse. I might be wrong there, but it looks to me that they are the same. And I think as well, going back to this crotch part here, it does look a lot more sleek on the Symbiote Spider-Man compared to Miles here. There is just some gappage on either side and it doesn't look as seamless as I would maybe like, but this does look good overall. These are just wee things that are noticeable. If we're still rating this thing as a £20 bootleg, he's another stellar CT Toys release here, and he's holding up with probably their best release, best knockoff so far, the Symbiote Mafex Spidey. And then to compare him to a legitimate Mafex action figure, we have the Mafex Spider-Man 185, which of course is the repaint of that classic Spidey. And I would say this is a more adult Peter Parker, and so to compare an adult Peter Parker to an adult Miles Morales, these don't scale too bad at all. I thought Miles was going to be a lot smaller considering they keep scaling down these figures, but I think this works. I mean, he isn't quite standing at the same height here, but let me just move him back a wee bit, make sure they are truly side by side. Yeah, this isn't bad at all. I think this actually works. I thought he was going to be way smaller, but this looks pretty good. And I will say as well, I always love picking up a legitimate Mafex after handling these bootlegs, because no matter how good these bootlegs get and how good they are currently, nothing ever comes close to the real deal. And I mean, this feels so premium compared to our knockoff action figure here. Again, this is still a good £20 AliExpress figure, but nothing's beating Mafex. And then here is our comic Mafex Miles Morales bootleg from CT Toys, next to our CT Toys SH Figuarts No Way Home bootleg action figures. And these are all standing around the same height, which is interesting with SH Figuarts being a smaller scaled company compared to Mafex. But yeah, we can see how he stands next to those right here, and he is around the same height. And here is our CT Toys Miles next to two Miles Morales Marvel Legends figures. We've got the Gamerverse PS4 Miles on the right here, just had to double check that slight change in his PS5 outfit. So this is the PS4 version, and we have the Across the Spider-Verse Miles Morales here on the left. Again, thought this guy would be a lot smaller than both of these, but he's not too far off. So yeah, he scales a lot better than I thought he would. But then again, maybe not. Next to a couple of average scaled Marvel Legends Spideys, we've got the AF-15 mold on the left with the Amazing Friends Spidey, and the Renew Your Vows with the Ben Reilly head swap, and both of these are a fair bit bigger than Miles here. So for the end of the video, I just wanted to include some interchangeable parts. I've swapped the head over with that alternative neck as well, and used the web accessory, swapped a hand over, and it all works really seamlessly. Normally with these bootlegs you can have some trouble with the interchangeable heads that we've seen in the past, especially from CT Toys. has it been CT Toys or was it the rubbish? I don't know. There's something to look out with knockoffs. Interchangeable parts can be a bit of a problem, but the hands port on really nicely, and again I was a bit concerned about that web accessory and the wrist port being a bit big, but it fits on there great, no complaints at all. And that's about it for the end of the video. Normally I have my rotating disc for my intros and outros, but it's not working at the moment. I'm going to have to look into it tomorrow, maybe have to get a new one. So bear with this for the outro, but I think this is another strong release from CT Toys. I mean, there's not much to complain about at all. I keep saying this is £20, it's less than that. This is like £16 to £18 with all the interchangeable parts, the accessories you get, and how well they've ripped off the mold. Again, we do have some reuse with the symbiote bootleg in the leg area, but I think that works for Miles. Again, I'm not going to hold that against CT Toys. This is great. I really do like this. CT Toys are killing it. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. Are you picking this bootleg up? And what do you want to see from CT Toys next? I am still holding out for a Mafex Superman CT Toys bootleg. That would make me happy, but I am going to have a lot of fun with this. I'm going to pose them around and post some pictures to the Instagram. I'll leave the link for that down in the description below. It'd mean a lot if you could check it out because I really enjoy the Instagram side of things. Feel free to hop on over there. Feel free to hop on over to the channel page, check out any of my other videos, or click one of the ones that are going to pop up at the end here. It means so much, all the support you guys are giving to the channel, especially on these CT Toys videos. I mean, I've been overwhelmed at the likes, the comments, the views, and I cannot thank you guys enough. So thank you for watching this video right here, and as always folks, I'll catch you on the flip-flop later. Cheers.